A difficult but funny situation. Travis Perry is going to another SEC school. I was reading an article about this. Let's analyze it. The dynamics of college basketball recruiting are a roller coaster of emotions, expectations, and sometimes surprises that defy logic. In the case of Travis Perry, a player who had a lot of potential at Kentucky and has another chapter in this eternal soap opera that involves talent, tradition, and fierce rivalries. The possibility of Perry leaving the Kentucky Wildcats to join the Ole Miss Rebels, a direct rival in the feared Southeastern Conference (SEC), is one of those situations that make even the most impassive fans scratch their heads and mutter. How could this happen? According to information gathered by Joe Tipton from On3, Ole Miss is in a privileged position to attract Perry, a player who was once seen as one of the biggest names in high school in the state of Kentucky. Perry's history with Ole Miss dates back to his pre-college days, when the Chris Beard-led program showed genuine and aggressive interest in recruiting him. At the time, Ole Miss seemed like the likely destination for the young star, but Kentucky's more attractive team, an NBA-producing machine, ultimately prevailed. Now, though, the landscape appears to be changing again, and that change carries with it a symbolic weight that's hard to ignore. Losing a player like Perry to any program would be a significant headache for Kentucky basketball. But losing him to an SEC team, especially Ole Miss, takes things to a whole new level. Not only would the annual showdown between the two teams be even more fraught with tension, but it would also represent a sort of escape for a homegrown talent, someone many thought destined to wear blue and white since he first took a dribble on the high school court. It's almost as if a crucial piece of Mark Pope's mosaic is about to be removed before it's even been put in place. But here's the silver lining, because Kentucky basketball never rests on its laurels. Yes, the prospect of Perry heading to Oxford is concerning, but it would be naive to think the program will simply accept it without reacting. Mark Pope, the Wildcats' current coach, has demonstrated remarkable skill in navigating the complexities of modern recruiting. He understands that college basketball today is no longer just about tradition or state-of-the-art facilities. It's about tangible opportunities like nil contracts. That's the new currency of the game, and Kentucky is more than willing to step into that battle. If there's one thing we can expect from Pope and his staff, it's that they'll do everything they can to match or even surpass any offer Perry receives from Ole Mississippi. That includes not only the financial aspect, but also the athletic development, national exposure, and support needed to take an elite athlete to the next level. It will be possible, but I don't think it will happen. Perry will definitely leave the team. And on the other hand, if Perry does decide to go to Ole Miss, it won't be the end of the world for the Wildcats. It may seem strange and even a little uncomfortable to see such a homegrown talent choose an SEC rival, but Kentucky basketball is bigger than any individual player. The program's recent history shows that even in the face of significant losses, there's always a new name ready to step up to the plate. And we'll talk more about that in a moment. There's something admirable about the way Ole Miss is approaching its rebuild under Chris Beard. The coach has approached the challenge of reshaping the roster with determination and creativity, and filling a roster with talent like Perry is a smart strategic move. For Rebels fans, that would be a win. But for the Wildcats, it will serve as a reminder that the competition in the SEC is fiercer than ever, and that homework can never be neglected. I'm already thinking Pope must be making some moves. What about Cats baseball? Let's take a look. It seems that the Lexington baseball team is really finding its rhythm at the right time of the season, and the matchup against Louisville served as a clear demonstration of that. The 17-5 victory was not only a display of offensive strength, but also a reminder that when everything works in harmony, hitting, pitching, and defense, the Wildcats can be practically unstoppable. Patrick Herrera, without a shadow of a doubt, was the highlight of the night. When a player approaches a cycle, and with 5 runs batted in, it is impossible not to highlight his impact. His triple in the second inning, taking advantage of a defensive error caused by the sun, was almost poetic. Baseball, after all, is a sport where small details can completely change the dynamics of a game, and Herrera knew how to capitalize on that like few others. He left early, but left his indelible mark on the game. And what about Ethan Walker's performance? In a scenario where pitchers often face pressure in major rivalries, he delivered his best performance of the season, striking out 6 batters and keeping Louisville at bay throughout his 4 innings. With the bullpen coming in to close out the game with efficiency, the collective work on the mound was another highlight of the night. But what was perhaps most impressive about this win was the timing. This late in the regular season, and with the NCAA playoffs approaching, every win counts, especially against a regional rival like Louisville. Plus, extending their all-time lead over the Cardinals to 28-27 is a significant accomplishment, especially considering the intensity of this rivalry. Now, the focus turns to South Carolina and the upcoming SEC series. This weekend will be crucial in determining Kentucky's playoff aspirations. With an offense as explosive as the one they showed against Louisville and pitchers capable of holding down tough opponents, the Wildcats have all the tools to continue to surprise. It remains to be seen whether this win will serve as a turning point for the season or if it was just a one-off flash in the pan. What seems certain, however, is that Kentucky is sending a clear message to its opponents. It's ready to play and win on the biggest stage. Bring it on, South Carolina. Let me know what you think. Let me know in the comments.